It's Tuesday, October 16th, 2012. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, Genoa, the Traders of.
Let's do this.
So I found the secret to beating FTL pretty much 90% of the time.
Cheating.
On easy.
Cheating.
On easy, just like fucking max out your shields. Just go for it. Like you can't lose.
Well, I maxed out. I've gotten to the boss with max shields 4 or 5 times.
And know what? No weapons.
I had plenty of weapons, and I was still unable to beat the boss.
The saddest thing that ever happened to me though is I've never won using like the crew teleporter-y thing. I only really tried to do that.
I've only recently learned how to use that without fucking yourself. But the problem with it is you fuck up once with it, and you're done.
I know, you're like, all right, I've got one dude.
It's like I finally got really good at using it. I leveled it up and everything, and I was going in, and I had mantises and rockmen to attack with. So I'm sending them over. I'm beating them up. I'm destroying ships without killing, with only killing the crew. So
See, I've been doing
scrap.
that mostly with the oxygen. Like I'll just ion blast the oxygen until they die.
That doesn't seem to work for me because they just keep fucking repairing it. I need to actually kill their people so that they can't repair the oxygen.
I have killed many a ship just by letting the oxygen run out.
I've tried that. Just shoot ion at the oxygen and wait with such defense they can't hurt me.
Takes a while, but it works.
And they just repair it as fast as I shoot it.
Well, if you keep shooting it, you'll kill the guys in there.
And not with an ion cannon.
Well, use like a bomb.
But if I shoot it with any weapons,
bombs don't damage the hull.
You have to get a bomb.
Yeah, so get a bomb.
Then you had to use the missiles.
And then I gotta get 4 Game Boys, and then I gotta get 4 link cables.
I can never seem to
friends.
get the stuff that I, into. All right, so like for example, one game I played, and I was the Engie ships. You start with the drone, right?
Oh yeah.
And then at the first shop, there's another anti-ship drone.
Yeah,
so
2 anti-ship drones. Fuck yeah.
So I'm like, fuck yeah, and I buy that shit, right? And I keep going along, and I'm starting to run out of drone parts, even though I tried to get as many as I could. And anytime I had an option to like trade missiles for drone parts, I did so, such like that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going along with my drone parts, and I got a weapon to accompany my ion cannon, and things are going nice. I can blow through the regular game up until the boss 100% easily every time on easy, no matter what, right? But throughout this game, I was like, I really need that thing that the drone part collector. So I can stop buying fucking drone parts all the time. Fuck that thing,
because every time I get that, somehow that means I'll have like 80 drone parts by the end.
Yeah, but it's better than having to spend scrap on drone parts.
You only need that if you're doing what I'm doing, where you're busting out like 3 drones every fight.
Yeah, I was busting out like 2-3 drones every fight. I actually found another anti-ship drone, but I never found the drone collecty thing. And then, of course, by the end of the game, I had my shields all the way up, but I didn't have my engines up as much as I wanted because I had to spend so much scrap on freaking drone parts, right?
Well, don't use the drones as much.
But I had to kill the bad guys.
No, you gotta have some regular weapons, too.
I did have regular weapons, but the other problem was I had to power all 3 drones simultaneously, which I knew I was going to need to beat the boss.
Simultaneously?
I needed to upgrade the drone section to hold 6 energy.
Random aside, I gotta
and I needed
isolate
to
that.
add 6 energy to the thing.
I gotta isolate that simultaneously clip and make a.
So
make
because
a
I had to put so much of my scrap into upgrading the drone section and buying drones, I wasn't able. I actually picked up like a crazy awesome weapon, but it required 4 energy. I got the weapon for free, and it was impossible to power that weapon.
But you saw that screenshot I had like 4 fucking giant weapons all
powered. It was not possible to power all that stuff.
No, the way you do it.
And I didn't get enough scrap because I lost all that scrap to buying drone parts.
You power down those engines and oxygen, and then power up the weapons, do a big burst. And
and then of course I get to the end of the game, I fight the boss, but I can't beat him because I can't power all the things, and then. Right, I die at the boss.
See, I've never used crew teleporter against the boss. I want to try that because I think it'd be really
fun. I did,
fun.
and you know what happened? It was actually working really awesome.
What I want to do is send like a Rockman into like the weapon pod.
Yeah, it was working really awesomely. Right, in the first go, I just shredded him up. Right. And in the second go, I sent him over there, and I was also shredding him up.
I want like 3 boarding drones.
It only took. Well, drones would be a lot better for boarding drones.
No, and crew.
Anyway, but Then I just fucked up a little bit, right? Like one slip up and suddenly your teleporter's broken and you're trying to repair it, but then you got to repair your oxygen because your ship is going to die and so then suddenly you're scrambling to fix your ship, and meanwhile your two guys are suffocating over in the boss ship.
Well, Scott, you know what?
And then it's all over.
You know what? Now I know how all those other ships felt.
I can get to the boss almost 100% of the time on easy, 99% of the time. I cannot beat the fucking... One time, I actually had it all set up. I had the drone collecty bit. I had 3 anti-ship drones. I had plenty of energy.
Before
I had
the
full
boss
shields.
fight, get rid of the drone collecty bullshit and put something else there.
There was nothing for sale to put there.
Yeah,
There's no shop.
There's multiple shops before the last zone.
There was not a shop that was selling a augmentation
of any kind in the last 2
None.
sectors.
I was looking for one in the final sector because I knew that I didn't need this thing anymore. There was not one available. All right, and then it was fine. I beat the first section of the boss. I beat the second section of the boss easily. But then the third section, I had so small amount of hull and no way to repair it because the randomness of the map drawing in the final sector, right, put all 3 repairs next to the base.
I've never bothered with repairs in the third part because I've never taken that much hull damage.
No, but not only that, in order to fly to the boss, I had to fly through 2 of the repairs, wasting them when I was already fully healed. And then after the second...
Then just wait. There's an option to not jump. Just wait.
Hold on. I can't just wait. You have to go out to fight the boss.
He'll come to you.
No, you can't just wait at the base. You have to go out at least a little bit.
Yeah, go out a little bit and then wait.
A little bit. I had to immediately. The only physical star I could go to was the repair star.
And wasn't there
because
another
of the
repair
random
star
map
nearby?
generation. What? I'm telling you this. There was no way to go. The only way out of the base was through a minimum of 2 repair stars.
Scott, are you
no
sure
other way to go.
Are you sure you're not being trolled? That someone flipped like the bullshit bit on your computer?
I'm
and
telling
only your
you.
computer? Because I have not had... We need to play this together. We need to do a Dave and Joel style stream of like...
This happens
I guess
to me
Dave and
every
Graciela.
time there is some like one random bullshit that prevents me from beating the boss.
Scott, meanwhile, I play every time and it's like... Hey, I'm a rock man. I'd like to join your crew. Hey, I'm a rock man. I'd like to join your crew.
Yeah, you know what happens to me? Hey, I'm a rock man. I'd like to join your crew. Awesome. Hey, I'm a mantis. I'd like to join your crew. Awesome. Hey, there's an old man. Would you like to try to bring him up to join your crew? And I'm like, hell, I know this doesn't work sometimes, but how can I pass up a possibly free crew member? Yes. Yeah, not only does he die, he kills one of your crew members who went to get him. Restart.
So the saddest thing that ever happened, it happened recently. I was trying the whole like teleporty crew thing, and this game I didn't finish. So I teleport most of my crew over to the enemy ship, and they're fucking it up, and everything's going great. And then out of nowhere, it's like they're charging up their FTL.
So you gotta shoot. You gotta shoot the pilot so they can't go anywhere.
So I pause. I'm like, no biggie. No biggie. Now, I couldn't teleport him back because I'd been ion hit, but I put 2 ion cannons at the pilot and I targeted the engine, and just it happened to be chance. 3 full sets of volleys all missed, and then the ship disappeared with my entire crew.
Yeah, there's a video I watched showing final boss strategy, and this guy, he had stealth, he had full shield, he had crazy awesome burst lasers, right? And he had the hull beam, right? And his strategy was this.
Hull beam's pretty good.
Genius strategy he had, right? He was using the real-time nature of the game, right, to his advantage. What he would do is he would go up against the boss. When the boss was, he would pause all the time like crazy. If the boss was about to fire, that's when he'd activate the stealth, right? So all the missiles passed over him. When he had he wasn't auto-firing either. When all his weapons were charged, he would fire all the beams all at once, like do-do-do-do-doom. And if they all hit, the shield would be down to nothing. And then he would have it paused already, because he'd basically be like, fire, pause. Right? If the shields were 100% down, he immediately fired the hull beam in this really precise way that did as much damage as humanly possible across like multiple weapons.
That's the only reason I use beam weapons, because I really like drawing that line.
Right. So he draws that line perfectly every time, so he does for the maximum effect.
It's weird.
Right?
There's a few things that really get me going in games, and it's basically maximizing damage with the mechanic.
Like literally, like 1 pixel of the line is in one section of the other. Right? And then
and inventory Tetris.
So then, it worked most of the time, right? And if the burst weapons didn't break through the shield, he would just sort of keep defending until the next, until the weapons were charged again. And he just kept doing this, and it totally worked. And I was like, this is genius. How could he lose with this? And then, of course, Random bullshit. Up, and all the drones come out of the boss, and his stealth wasn't charged yet. And
that's the problem. Don't use fucking stealth.
but he also had max shields. It wasn't like
fuck stealth.
But the
What would you
shields were
rather
not
have?
enough.
Stealth or 4 crazy weapons and 3 drones all at the same time?
He had all the. He had. You should see. He had everything you need to have. It's just random bullshit.
Well, I don't know. I win the majority of the times I play on easy, and normal's not that hard either.
It's bullshit.
Anyway.
He already did a show on this.
So it's
here's
Tuesday.
some gaming news.
All right.
Monaco, which you've been waiting for
What's yours is mine?
3 or 4 years.
Oh, my God.
Right?
Andy Schatz has been on Geeknights before.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
The
He won't
game
give
you
me
have
a
been
beta
waiting.
key.
I can officially announce that Monaco, What's Yours Is Mine, my little handmade game you've been waiting for 3 years to play, will be available the way it was meant to be played on your couch in your living room. It's going to be on Xbox Live and PC, which we sort of knew.
Wait, so it's going to be on PC. That's all.
On the same exact day, simultaneous release.
Simultaneous.
On an unannounced date that is a very soon date, finally.
I've been waiting for this game for a while. Now, it's not interesting, but I've realized I don't use my fucking Xbox for anything except Netflix anymore.
I use it sparingly.
Oh, and Pac-Man.
Pac-Man.
Occasionally Street Fighter, because basically games I already own on the Xbox, I play on the Xbox. But I don't use the Xbox for anything else, and I'm not going to renew my Xbox Gold.
No.
I don't even know when it expires.
Yep.
But I see no conceivable reason to buy this in an Xbox over PC.
Nope.
Xbox,
If
great.
you're one of those dumb people who doesn't have a computer attached to your television.
Yeah, but then I can't play it on my laptop
it
at
seems
a con.
It's like people don't have this, realization that it's like, oh, I want to play it on my TV, so I'm gonna get an Xbox. Even the angry video game nerd was like, yeah, I don't like emulators because I can't play on my TV. But plug a fucking computer into your TV like a normal person. How many times do you have to say this?
In my entire life, and I'll be perfectly honest, as a hardcore gamer, as all these things, in my entire life, I have maybe 2 or 3 regrets in everything I've ever done in the last 30 years. One of them is buying an Xbox 360.
I don't necessarily regret it, but it's like
I regret it.
I would have been fine not doing so. But
I would rather have owned Super Street Fighter 4 on the computer.
Yeah, but I don't think is Super on the computer. I think
I don't
only
know.
regular is on the
If
computer.
it isn't, I would have been okay with not owning the game
yeah,
as much
it's
as I
really
like it.
Pac-Man. It's like I wouldn't want to live without that Pac-Man, but
I haven't played that Pac-Man in months.
that Pac-Man is not worth the amount of money an Xbox costs, even though that Pac-Man, oh my god, is the best.
Seriously, though, I'm way excited about Monaco because the version of this game that we played at PAX over 2 years ago was already enough for me to throw like $40 at him.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't imagine what it's like now. But I can because at the last PAX where I saw it, I didn't play it. But every time I walked by that booth, the people standing at the booth were screaming while they were playing.
I've only ever seen that booth crowded and screaming.
Yeah, it's just people yelling and screaming and cursing. Oh my God, the game looks so
All
good.
right.
So, XCOM, as you all know, the new XCOM is out.
But it's
and
$50. Fuck that.
now the thing is, the game is probably worth $50.
I played the demo. Not worth $50, but it is XCOM.
Now,
A lot easier to play too because the interface is modern.
it's interesting, and it says a lot about the game industry. Now, it's funny because what I'm about to say is basically the same thing I was saying about anime in
The same thing you say about everything.
not everything, but anime in 2005.
You're consistent.
When in 2005, I was like, yeah, X is a really good show. X being, and I guess I should say, I don't want to talk about X, the anime. But, Y, well, I guess that's also an anime.
No, Is is
Is.
how it's pronounced. Isu.
Wanderers from me. Anyway, so I like a show a lot. I would consider a show like The Count of Monte Cristo was an excellent example. That show was great. It was like a B+, A- anime. I love the shit out of it. And the DVD box set came out. And later, I saw it on sale on Amazon for like $6. And I looked at it, I'm like, holy shit, $6. I didn't even fucking buy it. So, as XCOM is like one of the poster childs of a game made in 1994 that somehow, in all these years, no one was able to remake correctly until 2012. XCOM is one of the formative games of my life.
That's your jam.
It's one of my favorite games
XCOM, Advance Wars,
ever.
and Bionic Commando. Those are Rim's 3 jams.
So let's name all the XCOM games. 1994, XCOM, Enemy Unknown.
The real one.
One of the best games ever. 1995, XCOM Terror from the Deep. Shit. XCOM Apocalypse. Shit. XCOM Interceptor. Not even an XCOM game. XCOM First Alien Invasion. Seriously, Hasbro? XCOM Enforcer, I've never even heard of.
That's
also
a
made by
third-person
Hasbro.
shooter. That's the worst.
XCOM Genesis was canceled, as was XCOM Alliance. And then XCOM Enemy Unknown in 2012.
I think there was actually one that was, I think it was XCOM Apocalypse maybe, was the one that was
Closest.
The closest. It actually played like the original XCOM.
But
and
just
it was
sucked.
more modern.
It just didn't. It was not a good game.
It was not as good as it did. I think it didn't have the bass part. It was just the
And the bass
mission
part's the only part I care about.
Right.
But anyway, so despite even not, that's not even counting the like dozen open source like attempts by game people to make
the
XCOM
Unreal
again.
Tournament mod one.
Laser,
and
whatever.
Yeah.
They were all awful.
And no one finished working on any of them.
So thus the conundrum of the gaming industry. We gave a lecture at PAX that we don't have a video of a long time ago called Egregiously Unrealized Potential, where we talked about like how games like XCOM or Chrono Trigger, just nobody fucking remakes them. Nobody just does it right.
Well, they did.
It's like people don't understand the essence of what made these games good. And here it is. A perfect example of someone doing exactly what I've been saying people should do for a decade. And I can't be asked to pay $50 for
That's
it.
a lot of fucking money. Bionic Commando Rearmed
Scott,
was $20.
$50. I'll blow that on dinner and not even think.
But that's dinner.
Also, this is my jam. I don't
That's
know.
still a lot of money for XCOM.
I don't think it is, actually.
What video game would I
Scott,
pay $50?
I paid $70 for Zelda 2 and
right.
$65 for Mario 3.
XCOM is a single player game. If I bought it or someone gave it to me for free, I'd play it through and probably stop playing.
Wait,
there is a multiplayer component, but
Fuck
it
that.
doesn't seem like a good multiplayer
So,
component
XCOM
or one that's worth playing a lot.
XCOM UFO Defense, I pirated, so I didn't pay anything for it. In fact, it was the first game I ever pirated on purpose. And I played it without an instruction book, which was extra awesome. But like one day I figured out I could duck, and I was like, oh.
But the point is...
But I got maybe, I don't know, 4,000 hours of entertainment out of that game. I played it as much as I played Civ fucking 2.
I'm telling you, is a Counter-Strike Global Offensive was 14 and change. So XCOM does not hold a candle to that shit, so you can't charge me multiple times the cost of Counter-Strike.
But you're saying that, not worth $50. Here's my problem. $50, the price, it could be $1,000 and I have the same discussion. The problem is simply, once again, I look at my Steam profile. I got Steam open right now. What games have I never even installed?
Most
Aquaria,
of them.
Battlefield 2 Bad Company.
Why did you even buy Battlefield?
I think I got it for like $1. I uninstalled BioShock and Borderlands. I've never actually played Braid on this computer. Day of Defeat, I don't know how I got that. Fallout 3, I
Day of
uninstalled.
Defeat is Half-Life 1 mod you're grandfathered in.
I have played Europa Universalis 3 a couple of times.
A couple times.
Let's see, Magicka, haven't even installed. Machinarium, Lugaru, Loom. I've got enough games to last me a decade.
Right.
Unplayed.
Yep. It's a supply and demand of all games, regardless of what the game is.
But this is the problem. A game that is both Rim's personal direct jam, done correctly and done the way he specified,
well, close enough at least.
Won't play it. What do we do about this?
Don't charge $50 fucking.
If it was free, I still wouldn't be playing it right now.
But you would have downloaded it.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be playing it.
If it was $1, you would have paid the $1. Even
But
though
I wouldn't be playing
You still
it.
would have paid the $1.
But I wouldn't
And
be
you'd play
playing
it eventually.
What does it take for me to play a game that isn't Counter-Strike? I mean, it might take a new Advance Wars on a computer.
No, yeah, maybe.
That might do it. Anyway, in a sort of brief news, then we can go on.
Another thing it takes to get someone. I mean, you would play it eventually, right? The question really is, what would it take to get you to play the game now, right? To get to play the game now, there has to be a reason to play it now, as opposed to at some point later in my life, which means there needs to be some sort of multiplayer community, some component where playing it this instant is actually different. Like Tribes 2, if you didn't play it when it came out, well, you didn't play it.
No, what's interesting is that there was a time, like when Deus Ex came out, Human Revolution, a lot of the people I talked to and hang out with on the internet were all playing it right away.
Mm-hmm.
So I was missing out on that, and when I finally played it...
I don't know why people are so concerned with missing out on...
No,
I'm missing out on the talking on the
because
internet.
I enjoy that. Like, the shared experience and dialogue of, like the Dave and Joel.
It hasn't gone anywhere. Those people still had that experience and still remember it, and you can talk about it with them later when you have it also.
Yeah, and then it becomes like our crew where we want to, someone else starts reading The Prince of Nothing and wants to talk about it.
And everyone else is like, fuck yeah, let's talk about Prince of Nothing. I can talk about that anytime.
But anyway.
Let's talk about it right now.
But now, most of the people I talk to online, except for the people who don't have jobs or are still in college or don't have anything else going on, they're the only ones who play single-player games. Except Dave and Joel, I guess.
Well, game reviewer type people and stuff like that.
We're game reviewer type people.
Not really. We're not paid to do it, nor is it our primary...
I would argue that most people are not effectively paid to do it.
Well, imagine this, right, Rim? If we didn't care about anime, manga, comics, technology, or anything but video games, no board games, no role-playing games, I imagine we would be paying $50 for XCOM and doing all right. And I think there's just a lot of people out there that, we interact with, and you sort of forget that these people, they might dabble in some comics or read some webcomics, so they might, but it's like they're mostly in video games, right? It's like that is, if you made a little percentage chart of like how much of them is each geekery, it's like, video games would be over 50-60%.
Well, it is
Whereas
interesting.
For
Case
us,
in point, look
for
at
us, it's more even ways. It's like 25, 25, 15, 10, right? There's no geekery that I have that's even over 25%. So.
Yeah, but I guess case in point, look at Otakon. We were guests of Otakon doing lectures for almost a decade, and we did a lot of them. One year we did like 5. The biggest and most popular thing we ever did at an Otakon was Beyond Dungeons and Dragons.
Yep.
Gaming is the most popular thing at the biggest anime convention in America.
Mm.
That says a lot. I think that says more about anime than about gaming, though.
Mm.
So anyway, very briefly, the New York Comic Con happened, and as you know, we didn't go for the first time.
For the second time, we didn't go to the very first one.
Yeah, we couldn't though. The guests couldn't go to the first one.
I attempted to go to the first
one.
The
guests of the convention could not get into the first New York Comic Con.
Yep.
But no, I went to every one after that, and I did not go to this one despite having a free badge. And it's interesting that when I looked over, the comic part of it had some interesting stuff going on, but anime's gone. There's no anime there. And gaming is also gone.
Yeah, based on the online coverage, right?
And a lot of the comic is gone too. It's been replaced by TV
and movie,
Hollywood.
Right. It's the same way as San Diego.
It's SDCC Light.
Yeah, but looking at the online coverage, they showed a clip of the first episode of Ponies, which I got to see on the internet.
Yep.
And 2, there was
this
there's the usual. The Gundam booth is always awesome, but someone took pictures of every Gundam in it. So
there was like this E-level mezzanine where all the anime kids and all the people who sit on the floor at cons sat on the floor.
Right. And then the only thing that I could tell from the internet that I missed at this con, right, is
the security line, because now they were searching bags to let people in.
That, and B, if you read Bakuman, there is a manga within the manga of Bakuman.
Yo, dog.
Called Otter number 11, and they were giving away Otter number 11, like the spin-off, which is sort of the same. It's sort of the same idea as like Kujibiki Unbalanced.
You could do, Scott, if you really wanted it. Because way back when I
could easily get it if I wanted to, yes.
Yeah, because when I really wanted that Pit-Boy, multiple listeners send me their Pit-Boys.
Yeah, if anyone's got a copy of Otter number 11,
you'd make Scott really
happy. You don't
happy.
even need to send it to me. Just scan it in and send me some JPEGs or send me a link to the JPEGs or whatever. I just want to read it. I don't need to have it. I don't need more shit in my house.
But I don't know. It's interesting because I had some conversations with a lot of different people related to New York Comic Con a couple years ago, and the sentiment then was very directly increase the gaming industry and gaming content at the New York Comic Con. There was a big internal push for that, and then all those people, one by one, stopped talking about it with me, and then stopped talking to me, and then all the gaming content of the New York Comic Con disappeared.
Yep.
And I know those people.
I think WotC is still there, though. And I'm pretty sure there's still a few booths that belong to various gaming
Yeah, like Luke
companies.
Crane was there. But the gaming content at the New York Comic Con has diminished substantially, and as opposed to increased dramatically, which was what people specifically said they were going to do. So I'm curious who at ReedPop made the call of, you know what? Let's just try to be a shittier version of the San Diego Comic Con.
I guess they don't want to overlap with PAX, and they want to make money, right? And you think about it, well, if we have a booth selling comics makes more dollars per square foot than a tabletop replay does.
Yep.
Which makes $0 per square foot.
But then you have the interesting incentive of you don't want people to stay in the convention for 3 days. You'd rather have 3 different people come for a few hours on 3 different days.
Right, because if 3 different people come, then it's that's more customers per booth, so all the exhibitors will make more money. And if the exhibitors make more money, you can charge more money for the tables. And so it's like, oh, if that guy just selling his comics, came in from New Jersey, makes $500, you can't sell him a table for $500.
Anyway,
but if he makes $5,000, you can sell him a table for $1,000.
We'll talk about that later. This is kind of a separate show because it's basically look at PAX and Otakon and the New York Comic Con. Like those 3, between all 3 of them, show like the 3 possible directions the convention can go.
The one thing about the con is like it's if you want to buy some stuff, they have stuff that it's I guess it'd be convenient, especially because I live here. But
all the people I know who live here didn't go.
Getting in outweighs the cost of makes it not economical to buy anything. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna buy a badge just to buy stuff. It's easier to just buy the stuff online.
Maybe this is something really snarky and self-centered to say. I kind of forget, unless I think about it, that conventions cost money to get into.
It's also, think about all these people. A lot of the people I talk to who go to the con. I even talked to someone who was thinking about just standing outside the con because it's like all they just wanted to do was sort of like, goggle and gaggle at people in costumes at the, and it's like, we're just so jaded that it's not worth anything to us anymore. But to a lot
I wonder if it's 10 years of Otakon that did that to us.
To a lot of people, they just go to it and just being there and seeing all the nerdiness and costumes and craziness is like, whoa. And it's so fun for them. But for us, that's like, you'd have to pay me to do that. It's like, I've done that so many times.
That would explain
you could not,
2 things I noticed.
That holds no value for me whatsoever.
The people I know who are the most excited about it don't go to many cons or don't live in New York City.
Yeah.
And I realized, think about it. 2002, I went to my first anime convention, and my mind was blown. 2003, Jaded.
Yep.
I'd seen it all. The end.
It's like I walk in and it's like people, like you go in and there's that giant inflated Adventure Time, whatever. A lot of Adventure Time fans are like, oh my God, so awesome. Holy shit, take my picture with it. Woo! And I'm just like, I don't even notice that it's there unless you point it out to me.
Not that it's more. It's like, oh, hey, it's that inflated thing they had at the last 11 conventions we attended this season.
Yeah. If I even noticed it at all.
Well, I remember the last New York Anime Festival that happened. We literally showed up, did our lecture, and walked out like immediately after.
It's the same. Someone told me I forget who it was, maybe a week or 2 ago, and they were like, "Yeah, I got on this train and these." Oh, it was my dad's friend from Connecticut, and he talked about how he went to the city for a Yankees game, and he was on the subway, and some dudes came on the subway and started breakdancing, and I'm like, "Why did you even look at them?" And he's like, "Yeah, because he gave them money," and I'm like, "What?" I'm like, dude, if that people come on and there'll be like a mariachi band on the subway, and I wouldn't even know that they were there.
Now, for those of you who don't live in New York, Scott is not in any way. It's not like an exaggeration or a silly. Literally, it'll be my morning commute, and an entire mariachi band of like 6 people will come from another subway car into my subway car and play an entire song, and no one even notices.
Yep. Like, if I've got my headphones in, I might not even know that I might, it's like, I won't react to it usually, but I'll notice it. I'm like, oh, mariachi band, right? And just go back to what I was doing and ignore them. But, like, if I got headphones in, there's a good chance that they would come in and leave, and I wouldn't even know that they were there in the first place.
But anyway, things of the day. Try not to do like pony mashups because it's, anyone who cares about those have seen them all by this point. And Gangnam Style, I would also Gangnam.
You're not very good at this.
Is also something that I would say I don't need to do anymore. But this is just such an unexpected and unexpectedly delightful mashup. It's Ghostbusters.
It's flawed
and
slightly,
Gangnam Style.
but it's still good enough to be awesome.
It's pretty great. And the thing is, you're going to watch it, and all you're going to want to do is watch Ghostbusters again.
Yeah. So imagine if, you were watching like a cartoon of like Superman, right? And Superman flew away, right? And he changed his clothes really fast. Imagine if you were walking down the street and you saw someone do that. You would be like,
No, I wouldn't. It's New York. I see shit like that every day.
You don't see somebody change their clothes faster than someone could humanly possibly change their clothes and then fly.
I saw a hobo stripping naked and changing clothes.
Not as fast as Superman, nor did he fly afterwards.
No, in fact, he
sense.
was lingering a little bit.
Right. So imagine if you were walking down the street, and you saw a cartoon and it was Batman with his little grappling hook going whoosh and then jumping across buildings that were way too far apart.
Now all I can think of is Mabel, grappling hook.
Right, for any human being to possibly jump, but he did it anyway, right? Well, if you saw that happen in real life, you'd be, and they weren't using wires or like on a movie set, you'd be like, whoa, what the fuck? Even in New York, right?
Nah.
Here's a video of somebody doing something that you would normally consider to be almost superhuman, but he actually just does it straight up. I'm not really a big fan of playing the game Metal Gear Solid, but in Metal Gear Solid, I know there is a character, and his name is Revolver Ocelot.
Do you know anything about Revolver Ocelot?
I know that he is a dude who is really fucking good with revolvers, and he's also a boss in the game. And there are many cutscenes in which he spins his revolvers a great deal, like whoosh, 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 in a way that if you watch, in the video game where it's just a, computer-generated graphics, right, would appear to be basically impossible for a real person to do. They are not impossible for a real person to do. This guy made a YouTube video of him spinning his revolvers and doing the 100% exact same thing the Revolver Ocelot does in the cutscenes of the video game. He is a master of revolver spinning. He is so good at it, he is as good as a fictionally superpowered character at doing this.
Good God, the article on Revolver Ocelot has 33 citations in Wikipedia.
Right, but the point is that this guy is as good as a fictional, theoretically superpowered character at a thing. Right? Hence my analogies of Superman and Batman.
So, in the meta moment, this Friday is the Nerd NYC Board Game Night, Friday, October 19th, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. at Think Coffee at 3rd and Mercer, New York City. I'll probably be there along with the other Scott and maybe this Scott.
Oh, really? He's going to be here that early, huh?
He's going to be here like Friday afternoon.
He's not going to work?
They're taking Friday off.
Oh.
They're gonna dinker around in the New Yorks.
Oh, smart people. Maybe you should move here like smart people.
Yeah, everyone moves here eventually. Or dies trying.
Right.
And the weekend after that, nothing's happening.
Nope.
And then the weekend after that. Actually, no, the weekend after that is Burning Con.
It is.
Never mind.
Burning Con. You cannot register for Burning Con anymore. It's closed.
Wait, it says click here to register.
I'm pretty sure Luke said 2 days left, and that second day was days ago.
I appear to still be able to register.
Maybe he was on his Twitter. He said 2 days left to register for Burning Con.
Either he forgot to turn it off or something.
That's possible.
Anyway.
He was at the New York Comic Con.
Burning Con, October 26th, 27th, and 28th is a gaming convention that is curated. What that means is you can only run games from the people who are hosting it.
The triumvirate.
Yep. And you have to run a game to play in a game. You can't even attend if you're not running a game.
There's multiple sessions per day, and you basically, if you go both days, you're going to run one session at some point on day 1 or day 2, and then the rest of the sessions you just play.
So it's going to be a great time. If any of you are going to be there, let us know.
It was a great time the last 2 times.
Because we will be there. I'm running again, as I have run many times at events like this, Into the Mountain, the Ark of Obscenities.
I'm running a scenario that I'm still polishing.
You know what mine's about?
And it's still not going to be fully polished. I'm going to basically finish polishing it when it's being played.
Mine is about an ark filled with obscenities.
Right. Mine is about you're basically a bunch of merchants in a town, and there's a Knigget, and he kills an awesome monster of some kind and has a mad treasure. He brings the treasure back to the town, and all the merchants fucking want it.
The last time I ran Into the Mountain, the entire party died, but felt very satisfied. The time before that, the party destroyed the entire world.
Okay.
And the time before that, I think they all died screaming.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I think every one of them was screaming when they died. Anyway.
But yeah, I noticed with Burning Con, a lot of people sort of chicken out because they're afraid to run a game, even if they really know how to play tabletop
Guys,
role-playing.
seriously, I go to a lot of cons.
Man up, pussies.
The vast majority of people who run games at conventions suck ass at game mastering. You will be fine.
Yeah, no one's going to hate on you. They're just,
People really suck at this shit. You will not stand out.
Even the
in your
people you
suckitude.
think are really good, no, they suck too. There's
Except Luke Crane, he's really good.
There's like 3 people who are any good.
Yeah.
Everyone else sucks. Also,
Well, let me
they
put it
have.
this way. I've
there
been
is a
told I'm really
beginner-
good, and you know what? I think I'm pretty shit.
You're shit. I've been told I'm a shit, and I thought I was shit, but then once I was told I was good, only 1 time or 2 times.
I was told at the last 2 recesses ago, 3 recess, some recess, that I ran the best game one of the people had ever played in a recess ever.
Right. Anyway,
I was very proud of that.
There is a beginner's track, which I guess you may or may not be able to still sign up for, where you actually spend 1 day learning and 1 day playing. So that's not too bad if you don't know what you're doing and you're a pussy.
It's going to be a good time. But let's see. Saturday and Sunday is gaming, and Friday is the party.
Right. I think there might be an official after party. I don't know. Whatever.
I think I'm going to go to all pre and post parties. I didn't do that last year.
Also go. I did.
Why didn't I do it last year?
We did. We went to that bar that was up the stairs.
That was the pre-party.
Yeah.
I didn't go to any post parties.
I don't think there was that I know
There was
of.
a post party. I know. I was invited to it. I just didn't go, and I can't remember
I don't
why.
remember. Anyway.
I can't imagine. No, the previous one, 10-10-10, New York Comic Con was at the same time.
Right.
And I went to do some press bullshit.
Yep. Anyway, the book club book is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. I've already finished it. How come you haven't finished it?
I just started reading it.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about all the yous, but also you.
Kids.
You're slow at reading.
I'm
This is why you
10%
need
of the
to
way
read. This
through
is why
it.
you need to read and not listen to audiobooks. You'll get faster and better at reading.
I am 10% of the way through this book. I started it yesterday.
Thumbs up or thumbs down?
I'm liking it so far. So, Scott, I got one question for you. Who would win in a fight? Kvoth or...
I think it's Quoth. It's how it's supposed to be pronounced.
Well, he said it's pronounced similarly to quotes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Quoth.
Quoth.
Quoth. Quoth.
I think it's Quoth.
You know what? Koth. Reshi.
Sure. The guy.
So
the main
here's
character.
here's some things I can say early on. Getting some slightly homoerotic vibes from him and his student in the early parts of the book.
Okay, whatever.
Whatever. I'm just saying, getting some vibes there.
Yeah, those vibes
2,
go away.
Chronicler reminds me a lot of Danilo Than from the Some Forgotten Realms books.
Well, I don't know that character.
No, but he's a lot like that guy.
Okay.
3, who would win in a fight? Koth or Kellis?
Quoth or Kellis?
Yeah. Yeah.
Kellis. It depends.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it depends because of course these books, right? All 3 of them, only 2 of which are out, are the story of Quoth from his youth to his older days.
Yeah,
so
because
the
Kellis
question,
could kill like
well,
Quoth
even
when he was just
it's
one
the
of the
same thing.
Edamaru.
It's like it's Edmara, I think, but it's like which point in each of their lives, right? It's like, yeah, who's going to win in a fight? Merlin or Lancelot? Well, Merlin probably, right? But no, it's super old Merlin who's actually a baby versus super young Merlin who's a knigget with swords and lances. I think baby Merlin is going to lose, right? So you got to pick a time for
Well, at the
each
same
one.
time, it depends on how.
We also do
Well,
not
Scott, here's
know
the
the
question.
full timeline of either character.
I was also going to say, does Koth have the mark?
Quoth?
Like, well, also Koth. He has a lot of names.
You mean Koti?
You mean Reshi?
Whatever, Kote.
This book likes to throw. I like that this, when he starts telling the story and he's like 3 days, and then he's like, some may know me as. He starts listing like
Tim.
all these names.
The Bloodless King Killer.
Tap to do 1 damage.
Right. Yeah, but book 1 is day 1, book 2 is day 2, book 3 is day 3.
I'm liking it okay. It's not as artfully put together as The Prince of Nothing, nor is it as deeply philosophical.
It is
but you know
not
what?
deeply philosophical at all.
It's given me that good fantasy vibe, which is hard to get going in my blood.
Right. So anyway, and then the final meta, we have an IRC channel you can join. There's people in it. And you should also join all our other internet things like our forum and Facebook and Twitter and all those things.
We've also uploaded a bunch of YouTube videos lately.
Oh, yeah, YouTube also.
Including us discovering the origin of the arrow to the knee thing and
Possibly.
3 mini lectures from PAX Prime. They're all up.
And a newsletter you can subscribe to, which people seem to really like. They like it enough that they were asking for back issues. What the fuck? Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going pretty well.
So join all our things that can be joined and go to frontrecruit.com.
Also, if I get more Twitter followers than Scott by the end of the year, I will upload a video of my junk to YouTube.
Yeah, your junk meaning your boat.
I think everyone knows what I mean by my junk.
You're not allowed to upload videos of
Oh, I'm
junk, that
allowed.
kind
It'll
of
just
junk.
get taken down. It'll be...
Your account will be shut down.
No, I looked into that. Most likely I'd get a strike.
Uh-huh. Anyway.
Anyway.
You're better off just posting a photo of your junk to Imgur. That'll stay there.
Now, I'll upload a YouTube video that has a still of it in the middle. It'll take a while for people to notice.
Someone might report it.
Yeah, they probably will.
And there's also people who review almost every YouTube video that goes up. Anyway.
So, Traders of Genoa is a game that we played.
Did we do things of the day? We did.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
What's wrong with you?
I'm forgetting.
All right, Captain. All right, then lead us off.
Okay. So there's a game called Traders of Genoa, but now it's just called Genoa, right? I played, there was an original printing in the U.S. that said Traders of Genoa on it. I played that a long time ago, back in Beacon, Poughkeepsie, actually, at Moz. And then...
For some reason, I didn't go to that Moz meeting.
Yeah. That guy, remember we went to his apartment? He was there. He played it with us, but it was brought by this red-haired guy you
Wait,
didn't
the
meet.
apartment with the bird?
Yes.
Okay,
Where
I
we
like that
played
guy.
Shadows over Camelot and
And then
Starfarers.
they were like the 2 cool people in town who then disappeared.
But there was another cool person who you did not see that was there. He
The
was the one
red-haired
who
guy.
owned, yeah.
I never played a game with him.
Yeah, he owned Traders of Genoa, and he played at that time.
How come the 3 cool people literally disappeared and we had no contact info?
That's what you get for not going every time.
No, but they disappeared and somehow we had no way to contact
I think I have
them.
a business card from one of the guys.
We should email them and be like, hey, you still in Poughkeepsie?
Anyway, so I played the game then, and the whole gist of the game is that it's a game where all the bits in the game are tradable, right? So it's like, you play Monopoly, and it's like you're not really allowed to just trade money with people, right? It's like you can, I guess it's in the rules, you can trade properties, and it's like, a lot of games that have trading have really, that even have trading at all, have
like
incredibly...
settlers. You can trade resources for resources in a very constrained manner.
There are very few games that have ultra free-form trading, and Traders of Genoa also does not have completely free-form trading. You can only trade with the person whose turn it is, right? And you can only make trades that are binding and immediate. The only other kind of trade you can make that's binding is if somebody is going to go into a workshop, and this will make no sense if you've never played it, you can trade with them for the goods the workshop would produce when they go into it, right? So other than that, you can't really do anything. But the interesting thing is all the different pieces in the game. The cardboard pieces, cards, tokens, money, goods, all the different kinds of bits. And there's a bunch of them. There's like 4 or 5, 6 different kinds of bits can all be traded. So you can be like, I'll give you $3 and a tree for your contract and a beer. So you can really go crazy with that, and that is the core of the fun and awesomeness of this game. So it's had a recent reprinting in the United States, where it's just called Genoa instead of Traders of Genoa, but it is the exact same goddamn game as far as I can tell, only newly printed with new art, that kind of thing going on. Bigger, I think it's slightly larger in its construction.
I have no way to tell.
Bigger board, bigger pieces, I think. I'm not 100% sure. But it's the same game, and it's just as fun, and we own it, and we've now both played it many more times.
Now, the gist of it's pretty simple. It's hard to really explain a lot of the bits without looking at a board, but basically, you move around this board like you have a trail you leave, like a slime trail of traders. And every turn, you're like,
Trader, not traitor.
I could move it here or move it there. What do you guys want me to do? And Scott will be like, I'll give you a beer and $5 if you move it there and let me do the thing.
Right, because basically you move this train of discs around the board, and they all have to be in a line, but you could sort of, you follow a path. Think of it as there is a guy, he's walking around town doing errands. In one day, he can walk 5 squares, right? And in those 5 squares, he's going to go into certain buildings and do errands in each of those buildings that he walks into, right? One person is controlling the guy who walks around town, and he moves all 5 spaces. every time he goes into a building, one of the players at the table gets to do the errand in that building, but only once. So you can't normally do 2 different buildings in the same turn. If I do the brewery, that's it for me this turn. I can't also do the city hall in the same turn, right? So even though I'm controlling the guy walking around the town, only one of the buildings that I walk into, I can do myself. The other buildings I walk into, other people at the table are going to do those buildings, which means I need to get them to pay me to let them do those buildings, or I can just end my turn immediately.
Now, if I haven't taken my action yet, like I'm the trader doing the thing, if I haven't taken my action yet, I could always be like, well, I'm going to use it myself unless someone else gives me another bid. But if I'm going to go into a place and someone actually does offers me something, I have to take it or end my turn.
Right,
basically.
like if no one at the table wants anything that's adjacent to Rim, right? And I say, Rim, I'll give you $1 for the thing next to you. He either has to say yes and let me have it, or do it himself, or end his turn. Those are the only 3 options available to him.
Now, the other cool thing about this game is, like Scott said, you can trade anything for anything, and there's a spatial clue-like component of what's close to what and moving around, and there's all these different bits. Like, you can get a contract,
Yep.
which there's things that have to do with having like a number of contracts adjacent to each other, or like deals where like get these particular combinations of goods and then cash them in at this place, or have the trader go between this place and this place in one turn. So you have hidden information of, here are my goals that will get me a bunch of money, and everyone else has their own hidden goals, and you're all trying to negotiate to maximize your own goals and minimize the goals of others.
Oh, but did I mention that the way to win this game, the only thing that matters is at the very end, how much money do you have? Right? That's all that matters at the end. And of course, at the end of the game, some of the things you have, like contracts, can be converted into money straight up, depending on, what you have. But a lot of the things are worth no money at the end of the game. Like if you just have a beer sitting there at the end of the game, it's worth nothing. There might be some tiebreakers involving things like that, but I'm not sure what they are. I don't have the rules in front of me. So really, it's all about just getting as much money as possible, and all these other bits are just means of getting money. Now, a lot of them, if you get them in the right combinations in time, could be worth like $100. So like, if Rim is like, he really wants a beer, I see he has a large contract, I know that with that beer he could potentially get $100. So I'm gonna be like, Rim, this beer is basically, it's what's it actually worth in the game overall? Maybe 10, who knows what. But to you, at this moment in time, it is worth $100. So if you want it, you're going to have to pay out the nose, right? It's like, it's worth, at least 50, right? Because that'll be sort of fair, but I want to win, so I'll give me 60 for it. Right? And that's the kind of shit that goes on in this game. It's like, oh, if someone else wanted the beer, I'd be like, oh, $10, because I know that you only have a small contract, which means the most you could get from this beer would be 30. So all that kind of stuff comes into play, where you're looking at what the other guy has to figure out how much the thing is worth to them, as opposed to how much something is worth on a global marketplace.
Now, what's interesting is that this game shares 2 very important aspects with another game that we play a lot, and I think we've talked about on the show, Modern Art. One of the mediums you use for bidding and trading is also victory points in both games. And 2, both games get around the settlers problem of it's not like no one actually wants to trade or do business, because in both this game and Modern Art, the mechanics basically force you to trade and do business.
I think the other game that does that, of course, is
Pizarro.
Bonanza.
Bonanza 2.
Right? Is people, if you're playing...
But you're not trading victory points in that game.
Right, no, that's true.
It only shares one aspect.
But it forced you to trade, right?
It does.
Is that if you have a game where there is trading, people, if it's just free-form trading, there is no reason to trade with anyone unless you're ripping them off. Therefore... Right? If all players playing are smart and it is not possible to rip anyone off because anyone will reject a rip-off trade, no one will trade. But trading is fun, and that's why Settlers isn't fun, or very fun, when you have good players, because no one trades, and the whole fun of the game is like brick for wood. All right. So, in order to have a fun game for smart people with trading that is fun, you need something to force people to make it a good idea to trade, even if you're not getting ripped off. And what Genoa does to make that happen is they give you multiple opportunities when it's your turn, to where sure, your turn could end right here, but if you go and you walk your little guy and you move the tower into other buildings, allowing other people to run errands in those buildings, they will pay you and you will get resources this turn, right now that you could use. If you end the turn, you're not getting anything for the rest of this turn. So even though you're helping other people, you will also be helping yourself in this turn versus ending it right now. And if everyone just went into one building and ended their turn on every single action, if one person didn't do that, that person would be pretty much guaranteed to win because of all the extra stuff they'd be getting.
Yeah.
So it's a good idea to let people pay you to do things.
Games like this really put into stark contrast games that involve trading but don't facilitate people actually trading, or the trading like the other way around, the no one trades in Settlers, if it turns into the vote who wins game where, people trade or don't trade based on
who they like.
Or the politicals or the heuristics.
Right.
Are you reading the Richard Garfield book yet?
No.
Can I start using the terminology from it instead of our own terminology?
I'm going to start reading it soon because I just finished the book club.
Because what we call vote who wins games, he calls the chip taking game.
Right,
Same thing.
Well, describe the chip taking game. Is it is one of those simple example game theory
so
games?
the chip taking game shows how some games, because of the mechanics. Now, here's another thing. Particularly, this is a flaw in games that involve direct fucking.
Yep.
Which is what he calls it something else.
Okay.
But direct fucking is a game like Vinci, where I can attack Scott the player directly in the game.
That is true. That has a lot of vote who wins aspects.
So games that have direct fucking tend to have vote who wins ideas.
Right, because if you can choose, if you're playing, say, 3-4 players, you choose who you attack, and whoever you attack, you're basically voting for them to lose. Now they're falling behind.
So here's the chip taking game. Every round, everyone has an action.
Well, wait, what do you have at the beginning?
Yeah, so everyone starts with 10 chips, and on your round, you choose one person, take a chip away from them, and throw it in the garbage. Whoever is the last man standing with any chips wins the game.
So wouldn't you just always... So round one, how many people are playing?
Let's say you, me, and Scott Johnson. 3 people.
Okay, so round one, I take from Scott Johnson. Round two, you're not going to take from, Scott Johnson because you're already down one.
Yeah.
You're not going to take from yourself, so you take from me. And then Scott Johnson takes from you. So basically, whoever went, depending on the turn order, right? We're all down to one, and then it's someone's turn. I guess I went first, right? So now I'm voting either Rim or Scott Johnson will be eliminated. And then, so I eliminate, say, Scott Johnson, and then on your turn you eliminate me, or I eliminate you, and then Scott Johnson eliminates me. And
Now look,
he
here's the
wins.
problem. You iterate through that. The game is either set or if it's arbitrary.
What
when
if
I
it's
choose,
simultaneous voting to which chip to remove?
Yeah, but even then,
Right? Because then round one, we all reveal our votes, and me and you both vote Scott Johnson. Now he's down 2. So then in the second round, well, you're not going to vote Scott Johnson again. You're going to vote me, and I'm going to vote you because we just both voted Scott Johnson.
So think
but
about
Scott
this.
Johnson's going to pick one of us again.
So think
he
about
already
this.
picked one of
In
us,
a
so he's
game like
probably going
this
to pick
now-
the other one of us.
in a game like this now, the person who's ahead isn't necessarily the person with the most chips because that's the person who's going to be fucked the most.
Right, you would be thinking at least 1 or 2 rounds ahead of who's someone going to vote for, right? Because, in round 1, we both voted for Scott Johnson. He's down to 8. He voted for me, so I'm down to 9. You're still at 10. So I'm going to vote for you, and he's probably also going to vote for you, and then you're going to vote for me, right? So then we're all down. So, but then I know that you were doing that.
So the determining factor of the game is either arbitrary political bullshit or attack Rim. He's going to win.
Right, but you get a little bit, especially when the chips are getting low. Like when someone has 2 chips, suddenly it becomes the stick game of unstable state because if you only have 2 chips, you could theoretically be eliminated that immediately.
Well, no, then it doesn't become the stick game. It becomes the game is already over game. Or it becomes the brinksmanship game of, Scott, if you don't attack him, he's going to win. So, which is a problem in many games.
Yeah,
Basically, all these
I'm
things.
at 2 and you're both at 1. The only chance you guys has of winning is if you both vote for me.
Anyway, the terminology that Garfield uses in his
but
book
one of you will die because I'm attacking only one.
is that many games just boil down to the mechanics don't matter. The actual decisions that matter are just which player do I attack?
Yep.
Who do I fuck?
And that's basically deciding which of the other players will lose, and your own fate is out of your hands. Unless, you would obviously pick the person most likely to vote for you, but that's really all there is to it.
So, once again, just to kind of show how cool this book is, just because it gives us terminology for all this stuff. Look at Settlers. I used to win Settlers a lot in our crew before everyone got really good at Settlers. And the reason I was able to do it is that the Settlers breaks down in that whoever's ahead, whenever the 7 comes up, everyone tries to gangbang on the person who's winning so they don't win to give everyone else a chance to catch up. So the key to the game was to lay low and be in second place with a non-obvious way to jump ahead at the last second and
Stiffy
win.
cards.
Or
Longest road out of nowhere.
being close to having longest road and largest army, but somehow other people don't notice because, and here's the way the
You
game's
don't actually
described,
have them in front of you?
the game has other players have a poor model in their head of who's actually winning.
And that is the key in Traders of Genoa. It is really fucking hard to tell who is actually winning because somebody might be like hundreds of dollars behind you, but they might be having a fistful of completed large contracts. They just haven't cashed in yet. And as soon as you get near Via Paletti, boom, they just lay it out. Boom, boom. And they're just, cashing them in big time right at the end of the game.
Now,
and there's nothing you can do about it.
here's where the game breaks down and that it's a little not fun. The big contracts are worth 100 dinars, ducats, whatever
the money
florins.
is, yeah.
Now, the trouble with that is that these big contracts, there's 4 places where you can cash them in. Anytime a player wants to go there and has at least 3 goods, everyone assumes pretty much correctly that they have a big contract and demands a large portion of the profits. So it's a very predictable and unfun element of the game. There's no way to really bluff that.
Well, but the point is that person already paid out a whole bunch along the way to even get those goods, unless they were really lucky, and the contract itself. So it's like then to pay out a huge portion of the profits on the final end, it's like on the large contract, how much do you actually make? So, if you have to,
but I'm saying the act
more
of
you
going for cashing it in is not fun because
that's true.
among smart
and
players,
you don't even get a contract, what's it called?
So the only reason people go after those, or the only way people go after them, is going after the things that let you teleport somewhere automatically. But then people realize that that is the game determiner. So people now treat that the same way they treat the corners, and you can see how the negotiations around that, especially among smart but not necessarily well versed in the game players, is just not super fun.
No.
It's super fun among really apt players who are also smart. It's not fun among inexperienced players who are smart, but it is fun again if there's a few inexperienced and unsmart players.
And you're taking advantage of the nubs.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's like,
But that gets into the classic example.
And then there's the whole thing where, like, there'll be a nub doing something dumb, and they'll be helping out, say, Rim, and I'll try to educate the nub and say, look, you're about to give Rim all this whatever.
Guys, advice,
Look at
if
what's
Scott's
going
telling
on
you
here.
what to do, he's lying and trying to win.
Advice, Rim is the person who lies, and Scott never lies.
And you know what the result of that is? Someone other than me and Scott wins a game like that.
Possibly.
But then I win because...
That's because you didn't listen to me.
Yeah.
If I tell you that the move Rim's about to make is going to earn him that much money and that you should ask him for at
Dude,
least
it's only
this
like
much,
4 victory points, and Scott has a fistful of beer and whatever, and that's how these games
yeah,
go.
it's only beer. You can't do anything with just beer.
You know what? If you're a German-style Euro board gamer type and you like these kinds of games, Genoa's on the you might as well own it list.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you can trade anything for anything, makes this game a whole lot of fun for the vast majority of people who like to play strategic games, and it can only really be unfun for you if A, you don't like trading at all, B, it's basically everyone at the table is me and Rim, and you all play like assholes, and everyone knows everything that's going on.
Now, it's deceptively, despite looking like one of
Or
those...
C, none of you are smart enough to actually understand the game.
The game looks complex like Entdecker if you just look at it.
No, it's one of those deceptively simple games.
Yeah, if you have someone else teach you the rules, the game is ridiculous simple to learn.
I hate all these. That's one.
Now, the game sucks to learn if nobody at the table already knows how to play.
That's one thing I really hate about a lot of games lately. I've noticed is like Agricola or this or
if someone else
Utini.
teaches you how to play, it takes 10 minutes. It's great.
Even if someone teaches you, it's like they teach you so many things because you can't leave anything out, right? So they teach you all these rules, and it takes a long time, no matter how. Even if you're super fast learners, and they go over all these different bits and cards and all these things. And then when you actually play, it's like, oh, this is really actually fast and simple, and most of those rules I had to learn don't come into play very often. And when they do, I sort of know them now, and it makes sense. And this game is way easy
Well, you know
to
what's
play,
interesting?
but explaining the rules was not easy at all.
One of the examples in Richard Garfield's book that I never thought of because
It's like hard to teach, easy to play.
because I don't like. I used to play games like cribbage, bridge, and whatever, and I really don't like games like that anymore. I like hearts inexplicably, and I enjoy euchre, but I only enjoy euchre if I cheat at it. But anyway, so the idea of the people who
Is every show about board games actually going to be a review of the stupid book now?
until you read it, and I can just start using the terminology from the book. Granted, I like our term, direct fucking, more than his term, so I think I'm going to keep using that one.
All right.
But so if people who teach that game, who understand that game, will usually also teach bidding systems in bridge, which are the systems of bidding to indicate to the other player whether or not you have a good hand and what they should do and all that bullshit, which is crucial to playing bridge
Without cheating.
Yeah. But at the same time, really, really confuses new players and really obfuscates what the core mechanics of bridge are.
And really I don't even really know the full rules of bridge, but like the scant details I do know, they make it seem like, wow, that's fucking stupid, right? What? It's like if there's a special signaling system where like you can't communicate, but you can bid. So if I bid 10 and that's a signal to my partner to do a certain thing, now don't the other players know what that signal is too because it's a well-known system?
Yes, so then it's Street Fighter. You have this high-level game of using increasingly complex bidding systems or using a bidding system to bluff so the other team does it.
But then wouldn't my partner know? Not if I'm trying to bluff and you're not allowed to communicate. So I try to fool the other players that are on the other team, but I end up fooling my own partner and we fuck ourselves.
You got to trust the other player.
What do you mean trust?
That
It's
they
like-
understand the bidding systems enough.
It's like I think it's just nonsense.
To me, I'll be honest, games like Bridge are taking a deck of cards and doing too much with it.
Yeah, I get that. I don't know the rules of bridge, and I know a lot.
I used to play a
There is a
lot
lot of advanced
of
bridge out there,
hearts-
so I
hearts,
sort of
euchre,
want to
whist,
respect it,
cribbage.
but I just don't know enough about it to really make an informed judgment.
I don't enjoy games like that anymore. I don't enjoy trick-taking games with bidding systems.
I like hearts too.
Yeah, but Hearts is also have we ever done a show on Hearts?
We can do a whole show on hearts.
I could do a whole fucking show on Hearts. You shut your mouth.
Microsoft Hearts.
FrontRowCrew.com archive Hearts. We did a special on it on September 11th, 2007.
There you go.
Huh?
Geeknights is already like 2 years old.
I know. Hearts is a good game.
Now it's 7 years old.
Anyway, I think we're done. You know what, Genoa? It's if you care about German style board games, you should own Genoa.
Yeah, if you're the
on your
entry-
shelf,
this
right
is like-
there with Puerto Rico.
Well, this
and
is like the second. This is
Endecker.
the second tier, right? Like if you were already, if you're hardcore in the European board games, this is the second tier game. You got to get it. But if you're a dabbler or a newbie or whatever, this is not the first tier, so it should not be one of the first games you buy. You should, but like once you've already covered like the A+ games and you're looking for more, then Genoa is one of the first games you should go start to look at. I mean, it's Board Game Geek rank 172 out of many thousands. So that is not bad.
I actually really kind of want to play Endecker again now.
Oh, with the huts? The huts
Yeah.
are the only good part.
No, fuck the huts. Thing is, you say the huts are the good part. One, they're not. And two, how come you always fuck up the huts?
I'm not just saying I'm good at the huts.
Yeah.
I just really like that there's little huts and they're hidden and you sort of walk these dudes over to go investigate. And
The game's all about risk management.
it's physically fun, the huts.
And you know what? All that Endecker's taught me in my entire life of playing it with smart people is that one, humans fucking suck at pattern recognition and they fucking suck at managing risk.
Mm-hmm.
This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geeknights is not one, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.